Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's a certain time because Kamala Harris is out of the race. She's officially dropped out. It's a little bit of a Tulsi time. Oh, and look at that image. It's Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris. Now, Daniel, I think we were kind of like surprised as we found this out as we got to the studio that Kamala Harris dropped out. And I want to make it very clear to everyone. Kamala Harris, at least until today, secured herself on the 6th Democratic debate stage in December, and now she's out. So, hold on. Kawaii LPS, thank you for the super chat. Hard Harry, pump up the volume.
Okay. Anyway,
okay.
So let's get into this. So this is
all right. So let's get started. So Daniel,
this is a really fun story.
Yeah.
So
tell us what's going on with Kamala.
We actually originally had a story that was before we knew that she dropped out, which is this one right here, and then she dropped out. So we're gonna have a wonderful two-story story. It's gonna be a little long. We'll have tons of graphics. There'll be all the other stuff you associate with parties. There's the pizza. We'll get it soon. Anyway, let's get into this. So we're going to start with that Kamala Harris is out of the race. And we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But we're going to get into what we originally were going to talk about, which is going to tie perfectly into this story. So let's see. It's not this page. It is this page. I'm so excited. As you can tell, I'm rustling my papers the wrong way. Okay. As the 2020 presidential election plays out, Democratic candidates Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris have regularly taken shots at one another. In July, Gabbard called out Harris for the latter's past work as a prosecutor. The combat army veteran stated that she's deeply concerned about Harris's vow to be a prosecutor president, much to Harris's chagrin. Gabbard then went on to slam Harris for her work and show how she handled various situations regarding marijuana violations over the past few weeks. Various reports have indicated that Harris's campaign is falling apart with each passing second. The article that was written did not know how close they were to reality. A former Harris aide recently spoke with the New York Times and admitted that Harris lacks a real strategy to win 2020. You can say that again. Furthermore, all of the negative press surrounding Harris comes after she laid off several staffers. Now aides for Harris are coming out and stating the censure from the Tulsi Gabbard significantly contributed to the decline of the latter's presidential run. So right now we have the staff, this is before her campaign collapsed officially, saying that, hey, it was Tulsi Gabbard that really stuck the knife in us. And we have a super chat from Unknown Space Pioneer chipping in for a Tulsinator GIF. We have something we think you'll like at the end of this story.
Yes, we got something that we just found, so enjoy it, folks.
Okay, so now we get to that's happening, and I thought that was so perfect that we were going to talk about that story anyway. Now we're talking about what is now updated, the big news, everything, and the aides have said it themselves. You can attribute most of this to the giant slayer Tulsi Gabbard, so let's hit it. Democratic White House hopeful Kamala Harris is dropping out of the presidential race. The California senator's campaign seemed full of promise when it launched, and by that they mean that all the mainstream media was, again, we were talking about throw shit at a wall, see what sticks.
Well, she made that announcement on Martin Luther King Day, and I found that announcement to be very suspicious as she was trying to build up much hype for her campaign. But even then, right off the bat, people were starting to call out her voting record, you know?
Yeah, so we have that. We also have that we bought into the hype. I mean, if you go to our show on the radio like 2 years ago when we were trying to figure out what's going to happen next, we thought that it was like going to be Bernie Sanders versus Kamala. We didn't see Tulsi coming 2 years ago. So there you have it. But we continue on. But she struggled to make headway in the crowded field. Not like the media didn't do everything possible. Now they're like, oh, it's a crowded field. It wasn't, it's not just that it was a crowded field. It's that she had terrible policy with a terrible record. And we'll just get into this in a little bit.
The word rigged comes to mind.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
In November, her cash-strapped bid laid off staff at its Baltimore HQ and in New Hampshire and her home state, which, again, we called and said that's not a good sign if you're cutting everything and putting it into Iowa, especially if it's a 6 or 7 figure ad buy that your advisors will get 5 or 10% of. So someone made out really well with this campaign. But she could not break into the top tier candidates, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren, despite a memorable attack on Mr. Biden on the issue of race during a live TV debate in June. Well, I just read this other article that said that the bigger issue might have been the attack by Tulsi Gabbard, but that doesn't have to be brought up. So I've taken stock and looked at this from every angle. This is Kamala speaking. And over the last few days have come to one of the hardest decisions of my life. And I will remind people that Kamala would talk. It was very early in the campaign. She's like, I've never won a race. I've always won a race. That's over now. My campaign for president simply doesn't have the financial resources we need to continue because, she spent too much and no one liked her. But I want to kind of open this up to people. So we have Kamala exiting the race. We have her campaign admitting that Tulsi's the big reason for that. What do we think?
All right. So first, there's a lot of things to really bring up. Okay. Number one, Kamala Harris and her campaign, at least at the time, secured themselves to be on the 6th Democratic debate stage in December. And now they're out. Now it looks like Tom Steyer, I guess, apparently bought himself to be on that debate stage. And it looks like, and I'm a little afraid to say this, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Bloomberg somehow wiggles his way onto that debate stage as well, and he's there debating with all the other candidates. But it says a lot about how the corporate media is wrong about picking out, I guess, establishment candidates that look like are going to be the front runners. It says a lot about how wrong they are in polling data, because early on, the Democratic establishment and corporate media was saying that Kamala Harris was a clear front runner, or that she was challenging Joe Biden, and Joe Biden should maybe step aside for Kamala Harris. But again, the media is wrong about these candidates, because if we look in their voting record, I mean, Kamala Harris put a lot of people, most notably African Americans, behind bars when she was Secretary of State in the state of California. And she laughed about it. She laughed about it too. And even separating parents from their children when their kids would miss a day of school, she would laugh about it. And when Tulsi Gabbard brought it up to light, what did Kamala Harris do? She fumbled. She failed. And, it says a lot about somebody who can't really defend their own record. And Tulsi Gabbard is clearly a giant slayer, and Tulsi Gabbard had what it took to really address how much of a fake fraud candidate Kamala Harris is. And I will say this, at least in regards to this, Tulsi Gabbard is the bigger person, because she did say this on Twitter. Sending my best wishes to Kamala Harris, her family, and supporters who have campaigned so hard. While we disagree on some issues, we agree on others, and I respect her sincere desire to serve the American people. I look forward to working together on the challenges we face as a nation. So that's great on Tulsi Gabbard that she's, taking that road, but we need to look at the bigger picture. Kamala Harris lied about her record. Kamala Harris put innocent people behind bars because they were smoking what? A green herb? A plant? Like, that's such a big crime, but yet she laughed about it. And the thing is, somebody like that who works for the prison industrial complex doesn't care about people. And when she's laughing about separating children from their families because they miss one day of school, you're not improving the community, and you're not making sure that people work harder. You're destroying families. And that's Kamala Harris's legacy, especially as Secretary of State of California, but also now the rest of the country knows about Kamala Harris's legacy. And she just didn't have what it took to be a real contender in this race.
So I just want to add into that she not only leaves without any money, which is, oh, hello. I finally did it. There we go. That she's not only left the race without any money, which she can't then give to anyone because really she doesn't have a whole lot to give. And she doesn't leave with any delegates, which she could use to have a sway. She has nothing. She has no support. She's collapsed. She has no money, no power, no delegates. She really doesn't have anything to say, hey, make me VP. A bunch of people like me. Tom over there is one of them, like 10% of them. This was something that I don't think any of us predicted ahead of time, that I don't think many people... Find me a YouTube channel that said that when the race happens, Tulsi Gabbard will come out and knock Kamala Harris out of the race first and foremost for the media's favorite person. No one saw that coming. And here we are. She's hand in hand. I mean, she has nothing. Where does she have to go? I mean, people were talking about, I remember Kamala people and her, like, haha, Tulsi Gabbard's doing so poorly that no one will ever vote for her in Hawaii, blah, blah, blah.
Hold on, Daniel. They were also laughing at Tulsi Gabbard's campaign when the third debate night happened and she was not there. So, the Kamala Harris campaign was laughing at Tulsi Gabbard, saying, oh, you haven't secured yourself to be on the debate stage. So, I mean, it's not surprising to see that the campaign is failing. I just didn't predict that she'd drop out of the race after what her campaign has done in regards to securing themselves to be, or when they had a spot on the 6th Democratic debate stage. Also, we got a super chat. Super Friday, invite Tulsi to Hard Lens Media. Well, that's what we have you guys here for. Reach out to them on Twitter. Say, hey, show up on Hard Lens Media. I think we would really like that.
We can
We
only
would
do
love
so much
that.
internally. We do very much want to get her on, but it's been a long time to try and get her on. So if you can help us out, that'd be awesome.
At least before December 25th.
See, I think what you're saying is correct, Daniel, in that no one predicted this out of Tulsi Gabbard, or no one predicted that Kamala would be taken down specifically by Tulsi Gabbard. But I think in some ways we correctly identified that it was extremely important that Tulsi be on that debate stage, and that she would be a unique voice that would bring some specific things. Now, I don't think any of us predicted her strategy, or that it would have anywhere near as much success, or would be pulled off with kind of as much ease as it was. But she basically set her sights on, and I think this is brilliant, she set her sights on one of the sort of second string centrist candidates, right? Not going to try to go after Biden. Everyone wants to go after Biden. Not going to go after Warren. Everyone wants to go after Warren. Not going to go after Bernie. The centrists are going to do that. And honestly, he's the politician on that stage that she most closely aligns with. So who's left? Boy, well, it's people like Kamala Harris. And I still think it's weird that she singled out Tim Ryan in the first debate. I think part of that was just a fluke because he just misattributed the 9/11 attacks, and she was not about to let that comment hang in the air.
Well, Tim Ryan isn't the brightest bulb.
Right. Yeah, a few fries short of a Happy Meal, something like that.
He's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
The wheel is spinning, but the hamster's dead.
The point is, she came out with a very strong, very viable strategy for these Democratic debates and has pulled it off without a hitch. And it's very commendable.
If it came out eventually after the race that she was set up, and this is something we've kind of talked about, we're not quite sure. It wouldn't, if it is true, it wouldn't surprise us that she's the attack wing of the Bernie campaign, and she has her very specific stuff that she does really well. And then, because let's be real, that whether you're Tulsi or Bernie, and I know our audience, it's a vast majority are one or the other, and same with their second pick. Eventually, one of them is going to join in the campaign of the other. So we're all in good shape. It's all about posturing to get to the point where this really pays off.
So I just want to end this on a final note before we do move on to our next story. I'm seeing in the live stream chat, people are saying Tim Ryan asked for it. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is next. And also people are saying that Warren, look out Warren, because you're next
She's
too.
already declining.
You know, here's the thing. Yeah, Warren is falling in the polls. Pete Buttigieg is also dealing with the same thing too, especially as people look into his voting record. So, you know, seeing Kamala Harris drop out of the race, hey, she's a neoliberal centrist candidate. I think the less of them, the better. And it also says something about the staying power of Tulsi Gabbard and her namesake in regards to making an impact in American politics. I mean, people will know her as somebody who took out establishment candidates and someone who beat against the odds. And Tulsi Gabbard, I think her campaign, she's not going anywhere. She's going to Iowa, and it looks like she might go to Super Tuesday. So, I mean, I can't predict the future, but Tulsi Gabbard is staying in the race for the long run, and it says a lot about all these other centrist candidates and who's the next to drop out. Also, Arturo Mirles, $5 super chat, tweeted at Tulsi Gabbard, please do a segment on Hard Lens Media, !
Thank you
I like
so
that
much.
Point. So thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate everyone helping out. But now, Paul, you have a major...
Wait, before we do that, we have a new wonderful...
Oh, this is fun.
Let's actually end this. Hold on. Enjoy this new gift, guys. It's
Tulsi,
Yeah.
Tulsi, don't give a shit. Look at that. Just
Tulsi time, everyone.
love that.
Hold
Love
on.
that.
Let's
I love that so
wait,
much.
one more time. There we go. Hold on. Wait, one more time.
Okay, fine, one more time.
Tulsi time, everybody.
I love that. It says so much. It's so with no words at all. No sound even. We took the sound out because it's a gift, but there you go.
There we go.